Thank you so much, Nyota. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Business Morning on Sunrise Daily, where we do just about 30 minutes of business before we head back to the Sunrise Daily studio. We're starting today with what's happened in the currency market in Nigeria at the close of trade on Wednesday. We see that NAFEX rate depreciated. On NAFEX, there was a 5 naira 41 kobo drop on the naira to close at 1,606 naira 33 kobo, opened at 1,600 naira 92 kobo. While on NAFEM, it was 0.90% drop right there to close at 1,625 naira 88 kobo. Now, there are fears now. We've seen 2 consecutive drops this week. There are fears that we hope we do not see 1,700 on the naira, hoping that we'll still be hovering around the 1,500 and 1,600, which has been our levels for a couple of weeks now. But yesterday's drop right there, especially on NAFEM, 0.90% drop, is actually a source of worry. Now, Nigerian businesses recorded their very first expansion for the first time in 13 consecutive months, and this is according to the August Purchasing Managers Index. That's the PMI released by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Look at what it looks like now for August. And I mean, let's give a little bit of applause to the Central Bank of Nigeria. I mean, today is just the 5th day in the new month, and then we see the PMI for the previous month. So impressive, and we hope this continues. Now we see for the composite PMI, we see it's 50.2 points versus what we had in July. So we see an improvement there, and that the Purchasing Managers Index increased from 49.7 to 50.2. Services sector, just a little bit of difference right there, a bit of gain. 50.3, that's what it was in July, but now 50.7. Industry, also slightly, but still below 50 because gain begins after 50 points. So we see 49.2 in August from 48.3. So an improvement, but still below 50. Agric is back up, and we know that the central bank believes that the agriculture sector should be a major driver. If you remember the business survey that they did for the next 3 to 6 months, agriculture sector should be a major driver of the growth that we expect. So we see positive movement for Agric from 49.7 to 50.7. Output for the managers is 50.3 to 50.8. So also a bit of improvement, about 0.5 points right there. For new orders increased. I mean, this is a big increase when you look at it, because it went from 48.8 to 50.5. That's for new orders. Employment almost unchanged. Delivery time dropped, actually 50.8 in July, but for August is at 50 points. So that dropped, but this is the PMI, the Purchasing Managers Index, one of those data that measures activities in the real sector and expectations. That's what we have for the month of August. Improvement in a lot of the indices. Now go global. Global air cargo demand jumped by 13.6% in July compared to the same period in 2023. And this marks the 8th consecutive month of double-digit growth. That's according to the latest data by International Air Transport Association, that's IATA. African Airlines saw a 6.2% increase in air cargo demand, the lowest among all regions and their lowest for 2024. Despite this, global capacity grew 8.3%, mainly because of a 12.8% rise in international belly capacity. IATA's Director General Willie Walsh points out that air cargo is benefiting from strong global trade, booming e-commerce, and challenges in maritime shipping has made people to look the way of air. He therefore expects demand to remain strong as the peak season approaches. Let's go to the oil space now. Oil was attempting to hold its line in early trade on Thursday after an overnight sell-off as players grapple with weak demand alongside a possible delay to more supply entering the market next month. And what that has done to price is an increase right there. So we saw that yesterday about this time. We had Brent at about $73. So there was a huge drop, and then a 0.12% gain to $72.79 a barrel. WTI off the United States is up even more than that, 0.17%. But landing at $69.32 a barrel. Of course, we do know both benchmark, they lost about $1 each at the close of Wednesday's trade and just recovered this early hours of today. That's an early trade. But OPEC Plus is still discussing its oil output increase as scheduled to start in October. And we know what that would do is to reduce prices because it's bring in more supply into the market. Last week, the OPEC Plus countries led by Russia set to proceed with a 180,000 barrels per day output hike in October, part of the plan to gradually unwind its most recent cuts of 2.2 million. We're still in the oil space now. Crude Oil Refinery Owners Association of Nigeria, CORAN, has extended its heartfelt congratulations to Mr. Aliko Dangote and his team as Dangote Refinery on the achievement of commencing the production of premium motor spirit PMS, that's Petrol. The group said that this significant milestone is not only a testament to dedication and hard work of Dangote Refinery, but also reflects the collective resolve of CORAN to contribute meaningfully to the economic development and well-being of Nigeria. The commencement of production of PMS is a significant leap forward in Nigeria's pursuit of self-sufficiency in petroleum products, refining, as well as development of associated industries. It is a clear demonstration, they say, of immense value that CORAN members bring to the table by setting new standards of excellence in the industry. Dangote Refinery has not only showcased what is possible when vision, innovation, and commitment align, but it's also reinforced Nigeria's position on the global energy space. Well, let's stay there, talking about production of PMS by Dangote, as well as the hike in petrol price, and see how we can merge both and maximize products from Dangote. There's some news going on that, well, the petrol from Dangote will be going directly to NNPCL alone. While we have heard that, and we did hear the president of Dangote Group saying that they are waiting NNPCL. This is 48 hours since we had that big celebration and petrol production started in Dangote. So circulation is supposed to start today. But do note that Mr. Dangote had said that Dangote awaits NNPCL and the Federal Executive Council for the price and for supply and circulation, the NNPCL. So that gives the impression perhaps that it is going to be directly from Dangote Petrol, the refinery, to NNPCL. But let's delve into this and see perhaps there are ways we could maximize this celebration. We've been celebrating Dangote Refinery. We're going to do this with the Managing Director of GACMOC Nigeria Limited, Engineer Alex Nain, joins us virtually from Delta State. Engineer Nain, good morning and thank you for your time.
Good morning. Thank you. Good morning, viewers.
Yeah. So I guess it's time for us to go past the celebration and look at how to maximize the production of petrol from Dangote. The president of the industry had told us that circulation will start in 48 hours, and that was about 2 days ago. So this is about 48 hours. How can we maximize this with the news that perhaps Dangote Refinery is going to be supplying petrol to just NNPCL? How do we make the most of this good news that has started in the country?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I think we are in a yo-yo situation. Yo-yo situation in the sense that we cannot be running democracy and at the same time trying to maintain a government monopoly. It is wrong for NNPC to say they will be the sole people as middlemen to supply the marketers. I think that is an aberration for normal democracy and normal market system. But we don't know what arrangement they had. But that arrangement is not proper. Internationally, the market forces drive the price. And that's why I say Nigerian economics is different from most places. If the law of supply and demand has to work, it's not going to be here, because when the demand is high, they do hoarding, and with hoarding, they can just manipulate prices. Let the government be open and be democratic and maintain the normal market forces.
So how do you suggest,
Dangote,
Dr.
Dangote is an independent company.
Dr.
Let them sell their product to anybody. Throw it open.
Okay.
That's the only way you can get the price regulated. Why do you have NNPCL as a check valve to get their own cut before they give to the people? I can't understand what's going on.
All right,
we are in 2024, for God's sake.
All right, Engineer Nay, if you can hear me.
And do things properly.
If you can hear me, Engineer Nay, I would like for you to paint a picture of the value chain which you think would be optimal, you know, in using or circulating this Dangote petrol into what value chain? Because, I mean, do you think that the trucks, or is it the depot owners go to Dangote? Which one do you see as the most effective?
The most effective way to do it is open market system. There should be no monopoly. Dangote is buying the crude from Nigerian government with Naira, yes. Even if it's with Naira, the price will still be competitive. Let Dangote sell the product to everybody, no middleman, because middlemen generally create additional bottleneck, one. Number two, they must have something to gain. That thing they want to gain will be passed on to the consumers. So anybody who wants to buy, go straight to Dangote. Any of the marketers, go straight to Dangote and buy. If NNPC want to be a competitor, let them go to Dangote and buy. Then compete with the marketers. Don't create a check valve situation. I'm so disappointed, because if NNPC last year declared that they made profit and now they are saying they are broke, something is wrong. For God's sake, let us do things properly. Then we get the desired results. When we start mangling things up, covering up and doing all kinds of things, we can't get a headway. This country belongs to all of us. We all have a responsibility to ensure that things are properly done.
Okay, so what do you think should be the role of NNPC in this?
Change should be Dangote is producing PMS. The marketers or off-takers should have access to take directly from Dangote to their depot.
All right.
And sell. When that happens, there's going to be competition. Maybe both of us go to a place and we buy, let's say, 400 Naira per liter. If I decide to sell my 410 and make a profit of 10 Naira per liter, and I sell several millions of liters, if I have money to lift, you that is selling at 600, by the time I finish my volume, I'm going back to get more volume. You are still there. Let the place be open. Dangote, refined PMS, marketers should go there and get it. No intermediary, no bottleneck. NNPC should go and fix themselves.
All right, Engineer Alex.
Use the people.
All right, thank you so much, Engineer Alex. Your message is obviously well communicated. Engineer Alex Nay is the Managing Director of GACMOC Nigeria Limited. Thank you for your views. So the other issue on the front burner, obviously, is with all of this, with increase in the price of transport or energy, we can expect that, of course, will be the burden will be borne by consumers, and it also affects food. That's the next thing we'll be discussing. But first of all, let's tell you about how LCCI, the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, how they held their Agric Symposium, and some passionate speeches came out from there.
I can go on and on about exports. And how can can we produce beans and our goods are being burnt, and then you pay for them to destroy those things that you export that has fleas and flies in them? It's not free. Export is not easy. That's why. So when our sunk costs, if I already spend all the money that I should be using to run a business, trying to chase a minister, trying to get power cut, trying to get approval, before I now start running the business, and then somebody is sitting here and is borrowing me money at 4.8% a month, and they say they are doing me a favor, the business is already dead on arrival. And I'm competing in the same market with a country where the government gives them money at 3% per annum, 1.5% per annum. Then we as a country take our sovereign guarantee and go and borrow that money at 1 to 2% per annum and come and unlend. NPR now has gone up to what? 20-something percent. 27%. How much are the banks going to unlend to us?
There you have it. Some of the realities that players in the value chain, agriculture value, and indeed the real sector have to face. That's speaking from the heart and from first-hand experience, some of the challenges, right? I'll bring you the full report subsequently, especially you can watch at 11 a.m. We'll have the full report for you, as well as at 1 p.m. during Business Incorporated. We're going to talk about how all of this is actually affecting the price of commodities, but that'll be in a bit after this break. Just stay with us. Welcome back to Watching Business Morning on Sunrise Daily. And yes, we're talking about the new petrol price, pump price that you would have experienced, how that's going to affect commodities. It's Commodities Day today, Thursday, and we're having that conversation with Dumebi Oluwole, senior analyst with financial derivatives. Hi, Dumebi.
Hi, Amy. Good morning.
Good morning. So we have new prices. Obviously, by now, transportation has already changed.
Yes.
And perhaps you had old stock, food stock in your house, so you're still enjoying. But trust me, by this weekend, you want to go to the market, you're going to feel the new prices.
Yes.
And I don't think it is something that we're going to snap. And unfortunately, it's at the period when we thought it's harvest time, so we can at least maximize the drop in prices.
I mean, one thing that we try to look at is the immediate shock of this, and we do realize that actually a lot of transporters have actually been paying fuel price at higher than what it is currently. So to an extent, the immediate shock on commodity prices or the broader market might not be as significant, because people have already been experiencing this shock at least for the last week or two. But clearly, as we go on into the year, we'll definitely see that pass-through effect of higher petrol prices on food prices, when we're now looking at food coming in from northern states into other states like Lagos.
And the borders are still open.
Exactly.
Till December.
Yes. So, and then primarily what we're saying is right now, we might not see that huge shock in commodity price across the market, simply because markets have already been paying this high petrol price, and that's already been factored into their commodity prices, the pricing. So, but then going forward into the year, we do expect that we will begin to on new stock coming into the market. We'll definitely see that have an impact. But then again, we're also looking at the other segment of the import waiver that's already been instated, the borders being reopened. Also kind of like the impact of the harvest season, which will definitely have that impact of petrol prices, but we do expect that the import waiver and we expect the impact of the import waiver to somewhat offset the high logistics cost on commodity prices, at least for the time being.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that, maybe, because we do know that there's something we notice, and I think that's one of the reasons why FCCPC, the Federal Commission, they're talking about consumers being exploited.
Yes.
Because I mean, you can just be here. Perhaps you want to take a cab or something, and the price is changing right before you.
Yes, I definitely agree with that.
I don't know about the delayed.
So when I say the delayed reflection, it doesn't mean the prices might not change. But what I'm saying is people are already purchasing commodities at very high prices already. For instance, think of a transporter that probably brought in their goods. Maybe after the truck obviously would use diesel, getting diesel at about a thousand naira per liter already, then brings it into Lagos. The small car owner that will take the product, take the commodities from maybe a beggar to a Sura market or an Wimbo market or even a nearby market, would probably have to have purchased, petrol at the black market rate, so maybe 950 or even 1,100. So primarily that product, when it finally gets to the wholesaler or the retailer, the impact of the transportation cost is already factored into that price. So when you go to the market today, you're already buying commodities worth, that is already capturing the increased price of the commodity. So the NNPC is just announcing it. Really, people have been purchasing commodities and petrol prices at these high prices, right? So what this now means is commodity prices are definitely going to remain high, right? And it's really not going to change. But what we're saying is going into the last quarter of the year, we do expect that the import waiver, the harvest season to an extent, where I would obviously have some positive impact. It might not cushion everything completely. Prices will still be high, but at least to an extent, first of all, there will be supply to an extent. We might not see like ridiculous increase in commodity prices and by ridiculous, I mean, you might not see a bag of rice jumping from like 85,000 to 110,000. That's what I mean by ridiculous.
Okay, so we saw a reduction in inflation.
Yes.
Last month.
Yes.
So we're expecting for the month of July now. For the month of August. Beg your pardon. Now, but all of this happened in August, so we should expect another tapering in August. Or what do you see?
So, two things. The first one is the decline in prices in July in inflation was primarily driven by base effect. So if you look at the month-on-month numbers, you see that there was a significant increase in the month-on-month inflation numbers for July 2023. So coming into July 2024, the shock that happened in July 2023 was no longer present, and so it just obviously tapered off, and that's why we saw that decline in inflation. But when you look at the core inflation rate, that's the underlying inflation rate, you see that inflation also increased. Then you also look at the 12-month average for the headline inflation, food inflation, core inflation. You also see that inflation actually increased across board. Now, what does that just tell us? It tells us basically that inflationary pressures are still very much potent. So even if we might expect a slight disinflationary trend because of base effects, it doesn't change the fact that underlying inflation is still very much potent, and the factors driving inflation are still very high. From high logistics costs like we're seeing now, petrol prices, diesel prices, then you also factor in the exchange rate, because when you even look at the fact that even though they're going to be getting, there's the import waiver, let's not forget that they're still bringing these goods in, right? And to an extent, still costs something.
And they'll definitely still factor it. Yeah.
Exactly. And a very good way to kind of imagine how this import waiver will kind of work is with the retail Dutch auction that happened. So you see that there was a price floor basically at around 1,400, I think 75 naira to $1. That's kind of how you can expect the import waiver to work. So businesses will still definitely feel some pinch from the exchange rate, but might just not be as detrimental as buying commodities by using like the parallel rate thereabout. But as for inflation rate for the August inflation rate numbers, we still expect a marginal disinflationary trend, and that's because again you have to consider the period that the NBS, captures does its survey, and that happens within the first 2 to 3 weeks of the month. That happens in the first 2 to 3 weeks of the month. So when we didn't see all of this shock,
August numbers are not.
Yeah, so the August numbers will definitely not reflect all of this that is happening at the beginning of September.
Yeah, okay, so it's the September numbers.
September numbers September numbers will obviously capture this.
Yeah, because this is our first week in September, and we're seeing all of this. Now, let's put those things into numbers and see the price. I mean, average price of Gary, you see it dropped.
Yes, just marginally.
Yeah, marginal. But rice, flour, and these are the products or the commodities that are even supposed to be enjoying that
the import waiver.
Suspension. So I wonder why.
remember there's going to be a lag effect, right? So when you purchase your goods, they don't come in immediately, and there's a whole process that's definitely going to be involved with the import waiver. Remember, they have to apply to get it and all of that. So by the time they eventually start getting those inventory, right, we might see that price decline happen. So this is primarily just reflecting old stock. And I remember I did mention to you that we're already seeing the impact of the high petroleum, prices on high petrol prices reflecting commodity price, and this is just basically what we're seeing
logistics
here.
And transport.
Yes, obviously affects all of this.
And then we also see pepper.
Yes.
Pepper had tomatoes is unchanged.
Yes.
But we did enjoy, or we are still enjoying.
Yes, we're still enjoying
pepper and tomatoes.
To an extent, yeah.
Yes.
And the tomatoes that we're seeing now are really the really nice ones.
That's a woman talking right there.
Yes.
And then plantain also is back
so the
up.
harvest planting season actually is one of the reasons why we're seeing plantains actually saying that we're seeing the prices up.
So it's back to planting season now for plantain.
Not necessarily. So we're going to start seeing it come back out, but I'm saying that before now, because the planting season is towards the end of this third quarter, going into the harvest season rather.
Yeah, I was
going
wondering
to, yes, sorry, harvest season is going towards the end of the third quarter into the fourth quarter for plantains. So we're going to start seeing the price of plantain actually start reducing pretty soon.
Okay, so let's keep our fingers crossed.
Yes.
If you're a plantain lover, this is the time.
Yes.
But I mean, we do hope that by the time we get this, maybe next week or so, we'll see the sipping.
Yes, we can start drawing some parallels. Yes, between the import waiver and because by next week we should have at least about 2 weeks, or even up to a month worth of lag period to be able to factor in the impact of the import waiver. Because it kicked in August 14th.
Baby, what do you see this Christmas? Last Christmas wasn't so good.
I mean, this Christmas.
We're in the ember month, so
yes, start thinking about. I mean, I think the usual thing is still going to happen, where we'll see, high demand to an extent, people preparing for the festive period. We're going to see businesses stocking up for that period, and I do see businesses trying to take advantage of this import waiver, at least for that period. We'll also see on-trade segment of businesses still kick up, and by on-trade segment I mean like the clubs, festivals. We're going to obviously see all of that, but the prices of all of those things, ticket prices, all this are definitely going to be
they're going to capture the realities.
Yes, they're going to be higher. So basically things are still going to happen to an extent the way we've seen it before, but obviously that squeeze in consumption would definitely tell on how people prioritize their expenses for the end.
But a miracle can still happen.
I mean, we're looking forward to it.
All right, maybe thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Let's take another break now, and then when we come back, we'll do a bit of the market before we head back to the Sunrise Daily Studio. Concluding moments on Business Morning on Sunrise Daily, we see the market yesterday, that's on Wednesday, closed in the red. The first time this week. Profit taking on O&O expected and actually did happen. So once again, O&O moved the market, but this time we moved to the red zone. So we see that it dropped 0.35% for the all share, 96,573.48 points, while equities cap, that's the market cap, at the worth of the market, lost 193 billion naira and closed at 55.453 trillion naira. We see the volume, the value, and deals all in the red at the close of trade yesterday. Banking was down. Fugaz had more profit taking, so it was down 0.89%. Consumer goods also down. It was a red market yesterday, but I can tell you that a major driver there was O&O and dropped that counter 0.66%. The big guys did this also. We'll give you intraday numbers as well as other conversations, very important conversations on the economy. That'll be at 1 p.m. Business Incorporated. I'll be here with Aniti Edet. Now let's head back to the Sunrise Daily Studio.